You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has directed all electricity distribution companies to refund a total of 20.33 billion naira to customers under the Meter Assets Provider Framework. The money in question represents outstanding reimbursements for the cost of meters purchased by consumers under the scheme. The order, which took effect on March 1st, 2026, follows a regulatory review which revealed that many discos had failed to consistently repay customers through the promised energy credits. To rectify this backlog, the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission has introduced a strictly monitored 12-month repayment timeline and new automation requirements to ensure that every affected customer is adequately compensated. Joining us now for greater clarification about this development, in addition to related issues along the electricity value chain, is Chief Sunday Oduntan, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. He's also the spokesperson of all electricity distribution companies in Nigeria. Good morning, Chief Oduntan.
Good morning.
Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're the main man, you're the spokesperson of all electricity distribution companies.
That's correct.
And of course, you know what is going on. There are two important issues. One is the question of inadequacy of electricity. People are basically struggling, whether you are band A, band B, band C, or you are bandless. It's a struggle. And of course, we know that there is an explanation to that because of the inadequacy of gas that we have now. I would like to know from you, is that the main reason? Because frankly speaking, most Nigerians just feel that they've been struggling forever. And then the second part is the part that we read out, what the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has done as per the reimbursement and compensation for those who didn't get all this credit thing and the 20.33 billion that have been ordered to pay back. What's your assessment of that order by NERC, and how do you think that will benefit consumers?
Thank you very much. The order from NERC is a good one. For us at ANED, we believe that as service providers, we have to do everything possible to ensure that the system is credible, and whatever we do, to also ensure that we comply with every regulation given to us by our regulator. And I think the regulator is doing a very fantastic job in ensuring that we comply. In terms of refund, some discos have been refunding credit back to their customers under the MAP scheme over time. Some have issues with their billing system, and whatever it is, what we know is that by the time the full implementation starts in April, those who have not received their credits will get it in arrears, because this has to be paid, and it will be paid. And for instance, last year, one of the meetings, NERC confirmed that some discos, like IBDC, Ibadan Disco,
yes,
had done a refund of up to 92% under the MAP scheme. There are others who have not done as much as that, and some discos are trying to validate their customer phone numbers, so that when they want to start sending the credits, it will not be sent to the wrong number. It's just a question of them trying their best to ensure that they automate their system. So on their billing system, as you buy credit, then the refund will also follow at the end of the month. But I assure Nigerians that those who have not received their own will get it in arrears and fully.
Are you putting a timeline for that? Are you putting a timeline to your promise?
Well, the regulator has already given us the timeline, and our own is to follow every step all the way. Like I said, there's no excuse why the system should fail in any way in terms of getting people who have paid their own hard-earned money, advance it more or less to the sector to get their meters, so they will have to get their credit back. But so many people have gotten this over time, but those who have not gotten it will surely get it. I think that's just what it is. Yes. On the supply issue.
Yes.
Right. There are a lot of issues that one of them is the issue of gas constraint. And I must say clearly here that this is the first government, or let me say the first president, that recognized what has been a very sensitive and very a major issue in the value chain, which is transmission.
Transmission?
Yes. Transmission Company of Nigeria, over the years, since the time of Mr. Fashola, they have tried so much. They've invested a lot of money in getting equipment through Siemens to ensure that the bottleneck is dealt with. But we still have a lot of bottleneck. So what this government has done just a few days ago, in fact, is that the government have decided to establish a company that will be known as Grid Asset Management Company, GAMCO. They've set up a committee.
It was just, the committee was inaugurated, I think, yesterday or something.
That's what I'm saying. So this is going to be a game changer.
You think so?
I'm very sure it will be a game changer. The only thing I want to say to the president, if I can talk straight to the president, it is time for the president to personally take ownership of certain things. For us as service providers, operators, we have investors who are both investors in the discos and investors in the gencos, many of them. I'll give you an example. One of them is Dr. Kola Adesina. Kola Adesina is the chairman of Ikeja Electric, and they're also the owners of Egbin Thermal Plant in Ikorodu.
Yes.
Egbin Thermal Plant is the biggest in West Africa. Now, someone like that needs to be listened to. When you talk to Kola Adesina, you are speaking to the whole power sector. And at the end of the day, what the federal government has done now is with that GAMCO that's coming on stream now, the aim is to optimize power generation. It is also to modernize the transmission evacuation, because there are a lot of stranded power over the years. We'll be talking about power cannot move from this point to that point. Even us as discos, I will always say, we are not efficient enough. So, and that is why the current NERC, the regulator as it is currently constituted, is again one of the best that we have since privatization. So what we all need to do is to take advantage of the opportunity that we all have to collaborate and work together and ensure power supply. So what GAMCO will do, for a starter, they are starting with a pilot line which will enable them to evacuate bulk power to Lagos and Ogun State for a start, and that's what they will do along all the corridors to ensure that all the NIPPs, areas where there are standard powers, to recover those ones. Like the one they're talking about now, I think it's about 1,000, if I get it right, 1,600 megawatts within the next 18 to 24 months. Once they can get that added to what we currently have, that will ease.
We're down to 4,000 now, you know that.
That's what I'm saying. So the issue of gas constraint, once that is dealt with, it will take us back up. The issue of getting the standard power and ensuring proper evacuation. Over the years, in those days, not in the last few years, but in those days, one of the issues you hear between transmission, TCN, and discos, especially at the point of privatization, 2013, 14, 15, there were a lot of arguments about load dumping, and you hear about load rejection. The issue of load dumping, load rejection has to do with me as the distributor asking that you should please get me my electricity on Awolowo Road. But you decide to dump it at Agege because your equipment, your infrastructure cannot push it to Awolowo Road Ikoyi. Now, those are the issues when we talk about bottleneck. And with what this president is doing now, I think we're getting there. And I think we just need to be patient. I believe that it is the right way, the right thing to do, and we'll get there. The president, the government, the people, even the opposition, the critics should please help us to take Nigerian power sector out of politics. We cannot afford to continue to politicize it. Some people are saying a lot of things like, oh, this person say, don't vote for me if I don't give you power. Even if that person said that,
yeah, but the president said so.
It is a dream.
No, but Chief Oduntan,
There are some things that are not realistic.
Can we agree, Chief
Okay.
Oduntan, that the president made that promise?
I'm not saying that.
So it's not this person. It's president.
The president who made that promise, I wouldn't know those who are advising him. All I'm saying is that you cannot fix the adversity of 50 years in 4 years. Nobody can do that anywhere in the world. And I'm talking from the position of what I know. As far as
so the promise that I'll give you power
don't make promise that
is unrealistic. That's what
don't make promise that is not realistic. That's one to the president. And don't pin the president down on a promise that you also know that even if you bring angels and malaika to Nigeria today, they cannot fix the power sector in 4 years.
Oh, really?
It's not possible because of the huge investment required, the dilapidated infrastructure that we have everywhere. And what we need to do is to be focused on solution. How can we get it done one after the other? And that's why I'm saying that them coming on with this new initiative of GANCO is a game changer. But implementation matters. Nigeria does not lack people with brain. What we lack is we come with a very beautiful thing, and when it comes to implementation, we fail. We drop the ball. As long as we don't do that this time around, why not? I think we're on the way. I'm very confident that there will be power in Nigeria. I'm very sure that Nigeria will have electricity. It's a matter of time. For me, we have a long way to go, but I know where we were. I started with this sector on the 1st of November 2013. So I can say that we're better today than we were 10 years ago. And I believe that we'll still have to things will get better. That's what I'm saying. When I tell people that power has improved, this government that came to power only in 2023, they have improved power. There has been an improvement of at least 20%. I don't know what their spokesmen do, whether they say that to the public. But when I tell you that power has improved, there's a problem. The problem is that if you live in an area where there's electricity, you will agree with me. But if you live in an area, Banji area, or somewhere where you hardly get supply, you will not agree with me. So what I'm saying is, a country that requires about 28 to 30,000 megawatts, see hovering between 4 and 5,000, we have failed. Okay, so we have a long way to go.
I will come back there, but I'm sure this is what I want to what has been wanting
Yes, I'm still stuck on power has improved because I don't think that's my reality. And I live in an area that should have electricity and did have electricity.
You live in Bandi.
I'm actually, so it's, yesterday, a conversation I was actually having with my cousin, and he's like, I need to be downgraded. He's like, I'm tired of Bandi because I do not get 18 hours of light. So this idea of power being improved is not the reality of many Nigerians, including those who live in Band A or Band B regions. But let's talk about the distribution companies here, and what we're talking about is this refund. Why has it been so slow? Because you spoke about checking with people's phone numbers or checking the process, but why has the process been so slow in refunding Nigerians? And for the average Nigerian, how do they know if they qualify for this refund and these credits, energy credits?
It has to do with the kind of infrastructure that we all have ab initio. And I'm not here to give excuses. I made it very clear, whatever we need to do has to be done, and whatever it will take for us to get those things done will be done. So it's not the area of anybody's giving reasons or giving excuses. We all know that we are not where we should be. And we should all endeavor to get to where we're supposed to be. And that should be, and that is our own focus as discourse. Sometimes we drop the ball, and it's good and better to admit where you drop the ball and ensure that you do the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, the regulator will punish you anyway. So we are focused on ensuring that customers that have not gotten their refund are paid, and this will be done transparently. And we have a regulator that has a way of monitoring us. So it's not a question of I will do it, and if I don't do it, nothing will happen. No.
Okay. I want to go back to this. Power has improved by 20%. How are you measuring this?
By at least 20%.
20% what?
You measure it, look, generation has improved.
The National Grid said that power generation has degraded.
Since when? You are talking about the current constraint that we have. Let's always just take it like box by box. The generation companies are trying all their best to ensure they generate enough electricity in spite of the huge debt being owed to them. And then we're saying that they have a large capacity, they have at least 7,000 that they can push out if it can be evacuated. There are debts to be paid. The issue of cost recovery is there. Even when they take power to me as a distributor, I begin to look at my customers and areas where I need to take this power to. So if you live in an area where all I see is debt, I'm not encouraged to take power there until we get to a point where people also know that we all have rules and responsibilities. It is my responsibility to ensure that I get power and distribute.
I understand this, but I just
you also
want
have to pay for it.
I just need the numbers, the statistics. If you say 20%, that's a significant increase, an improvement. I don't understand how you're measuring this improvement.
Can I come in there?
Yes.
Because I'm also very interested in this subject matter, because when you say that by 20%, which area are you focusing on? Because there is a document that the media quoted in 2020 in analyzing what has increased since the onboarding of 2013, and you came into the game in 2013 too. The historical generation data from November 1, 2013 to August 31, 2020, the average generation as of 2013 was said to be 3,183 megawatts, and that it increased by 2020 to 3,959 megawatts. However, the electricity generation capacity, which was 4,214 megawatts in 2013, increased to 8,169 megawatts in 2020. We have, figures till about 2020. But then you are saying that up till now, that things have increased. So are you factoring?
What I'm saying is that
yes,
the generation capacity has increased.
Yes.
So it's not about 3,000 or 4,000 now.
No, it says that it's going to 8,000 plus.
No, it's more than that.
Okay.
That was actually
2020.
That was actually the figure when they were talking about transmission capacity. Generation capacity has always been as high as 11 to 14,000 megawatts.
Yeah,
capacity.
I had 30 at the time.
Installed capacity,
yes.
So not 8,000.
Okay.
That your 8,000 that you are quoting is transmission capacity.
Transmission.
Not generation capacity.
Okay.
These are the issues we all need to look at. The problem is the mismatch. There's no alignment. If there's alignment, if you're able as a country to generate 10,000 megawatts, you should be able to transmit 10,000 megawatts, you should be able to distribute 10,000 megawatts. That will be 10, 10, 10. What we have in Nigeria is a mismatch, whereby there's a high capacity
to generate.
Installed capacity, the engine number, right, as against getting the fuel to actually push it out, to generate it, and then what can transmission take, what can distribution take, okay? And that is why I said what they are trying to do now is to optimize generation, ensure that they optimize evacuation.
With GAMCO?
So, yes, because there's no point, if you are able to generate, say, 10,000 megawatts, the transmission company should be able to transmit, evacuate that 10,000 and take it to the distribution companies. And the distributor should be able to also distribute 10,000 megawatts. We're not able to do all of that. That is the truth.
But are we able to generate?
Sorry?
We're not able to generate. We're not able to transmit, and we are not able to distribute.
No, we have the capacity to generate higher than what we're able to transmit and distribute.
But we don't have the capacity to generate what we require.
No, we don't have the capacity to generate 28,000 megawatts. That's what we require.
Do we have capacity to generate more than 5,000 megawatts?
Yeah, we do.
Then why?
Because the generation, that's why we're talking about the gas constraints. You have a machine that can do X, Y, Z. Let me illustrate.
It's like a car that can speed up to 220.
You have a village and you take a brand new Mercedes car,
okay,
S-Class, to that village. You just drop it. You use a helicopter, go and drop that in that village. There. No road, no fuel. Does it take away the fact that it's a brand new Mercedes car? It is still a brand new car. That is capacity. That car, once you can put fuel inside that car and there's a road for that car to go, here we go.
Okay, I love this analogy you've given because it honestly does feel sort of very Nigerian. Because that car that was a brand new Mercedes in 1958 is the same Mercedes that we're going to try and put petrol in 2026.
No.
It won't work the same. This is the degradation we're talking about. This is why the grid, is this not why the national grid keeps collapsing?
That's not
because the infrastructure hasn't been improved upon?
Yes, I'm saying that.
So it is like a car that's parked in a village for 40 years.
Not the car of 1956. I'm saying in 2026 today,
Yes.
if you take a brand new car, 2026 model,
Yes.
to a village and you do not care about the road to that village, you just drop the car from the sky.
Yeah, but as far as generation is concerned, we don't have a brand new Mercedes.
As far as generation is concerned, we have a higher capacity than what we are using in the country. That's what I'm saying. You have the car. Let me take Egbe, for instance.
Yes.
There are 6 turbines there. Nigeria has never been able to fully utilize the 6 turbines. That's what I'm saying. So we should be looking at solution. If we focus on
Absolutely.
solution,
That's what we're here. That's what we're interested in.
and we should not demarket Nigeria by thinking everything Nigeria is not good.
Oh no, that's not what we're doing.
So we should. I think we should all be patriotic. It doesn't matter who is in government, who is not there.
We are.
I hope so.
We are, absolutely.
But the point I'm making is that let us focus on. We all know. Once we know the problem, we identify the problem. We now say, what are the solutions? Remember, I mentioned earlier. I said it is not enough to just have the GAMCO or any kind of initiative. It's also important to ensure implementation is done transparently and efficiently. And I think that is the right way to go. And
Chief Oduntan, it is also not unpatriotic to speak truth to power and to point at directions.
Oh, yes.
Which is what we do.
100%.
And I want to ask you, therefore, as a distributor, you are the spokesperson for distributors. The whole idea of ban A, B, C, which many people have criticized, that it removes power from the ordinary Joes and sells to you and Adesua that can afford it. Which therefore means that if a house of 5 or 6 family is spending between 400 and 500,000 naira monthly on power, it's far more than what the same type of house with the same size of family in the UK spends on power. And they get it for 24 hours.
That is not correct.
Of course it is correct.
I lived in the UK for 32 years.
But of course it is correct. And there are many people who live in the UK who say that the amount you pay in Nigeria for Bande
is not higher.
Okay, so tell me what you know.
Thank you very much. Bande, let me start by saying that when this NERC, the regulator, came up with this band classification, Nigerians need to understand the reason why they did that.
Why?
It's a revolution. What they did was to look at the whole map and say, where is the power coming from? What's the nearest point from where we can evacuate power? Where is the nearest interface? Where can I serve most? Because as power travels, you lose it along the line. Just like pipe-borne water, a long pipe of water, and you are tapping it along the line, giving to different households, depending on the quantity, the quantum of water. If it's so much, it will go to everywhere. If it's not enough, it will only get to a particular place before it gets empty. So what they did was to say, if I can serve this area up to this number of hours, an average 20 hours to 24 hours monthly, now that will be classified as band A. Why is band A tariff more than band B, C, D, and E? The difference is just that the government decided to remove the subsidy in band A. So if you're a band A customer, you are not being subsidized. If you're in band B, whether you are the governor of Lagos State or you are a rich man anywhere, B, C, D, E, you are still being subsidized up to about 37% of what you should normally be paying. But let me make it very clear, and you can do your own research on this, you can fact check me. Band A customers in Nigeria, which is the highest, 209 naira. Then nobody tell you that it is higher than what we pay in the UK. It is not.
How much do you pay in the UK?
I only came back last week.
How much do you pay in the UK?
No, I'm saying that.
No, we can work out the arithmetic.
Hold on. It's not difficult for you to work out. That's why you have your phone.
But that's why I told you.
Let me explain this.
Yes.
Band-Aid, 209 naira per kilo hour. But instead of flying all the way to the UK, let's do something here. Band-Aid is the highest in Nigeria. Yes. 200 naira. That is the true cost of electricity. In any production process,
subsidy,
there's a landing cost.
Yeah.
People need to understand that.
Of course.
It doesn't matter what they pay even in Japan. If your own landing cost, depending on your own environment, is X amount, you cannot continue to undersell the product. The product will not be available very soon. So what I'm saying is this: Band-Aid cotton, which is the highest in Nigeria, is the lowest in West Africa.
It's the lowest in West Africa.
Check what they pay in Senegal, Gambia, even Ghana. So it is still the lowest, okay? The issue is this: they classify the bands, saying that at a point, every Nigerian should move to band A. In other words, it's a way we are inching, that we should inch towards having 24-hour electricity. So their aim, the concentration is on provision of electricity, more electricity, other than more money, okay? But the reality is that we still have to pay for this product.
But it's more money because those who can afford Band-Aid.
No, if you are in an area where people, those who live in Band-Aid,
you're giving more time of electricity to those who can afford it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay, let me make an example of Ogun State. Ogun State capital, Abeokuta, where I hail from. There are about 6 areas where they are on Band-Aid. There's an area called Obadaoko, mainly low-income area. Why are they on Band-Aid? Because they are very near to where the power emanated from. So it was not given to them. It was not pushed there because they are rich people. The issue now is make sure they are all metered, make sure people are enlightened on how to manage their supply. Because at the end of the day, even if you're in Band-Aid, you can still reduce your outgoing by ensuring that you manage.
Like the minister says, switch off your refrigerator, switch off your radio.
I don't know what the minister says. All I know is that it doesn't make sense for me to sit down in my living room with my family on an evening watching television, and then we leave the light in the kitchen on, the light in the toilet is on, go on the upstairs, all the lights are on. It is
his light.
That is
he pays for it.
Right. No.
Sorry,
when you talk about people abroad, ask your friends in UK if they put on light where they are not using it.
I've lived in the UK too. So I know what I'm saying. That's not the issue.
I need to address an important issue, sir.
Problem, energy management and energy theft. For every act of theft in this system, it is affecting people that are paying. It is affecting people that are hurt.
All right, I'd like that this will ask the final question so that we can round up.
Just before we round up, because electricity is essentially necessary in this world currently. But it's necessary. And some people will say people have a human right to electricity. And energy poverty is a problem in Africa. But you're a spokesperson for all the distributors. And I want to ask about us cutting off hospitals. By distributors cutting off hospitals for debt. I'm speaking even AADC, for example, in Abuja, they cut off the Bari General Hospital, they cut off the Asokoro District Hospital, and apart from that, they actually cut off the water board. And we are currently dealing with water scarcity in areas in Abuja because the water board was cut off by the distribution company, the headquarters in Garki, as well as the Usuma Dam water treatment plant. When distribution companies take necessary services like hospitals or water off the grid, what does that do for the Nigerian citizens?
Thank you very much. Let me be very frank with you.
I'm very quick.
We are not engaged in an emotional business. Okay? I'm a distributor. I do not own the product. I buy this product. Sometimes I get it on credit from the owner of the product. I have an obligation to pay 100% to the owner of the product. People should stop focusing on the sentiment of, oh, they cut off water board. They will cut off water board. They will cut off the hospital. Because the people who have the budget, who are supposed to be paying and not paying, what happened to the money? And if money is not allocated to it, then we are also failing as a nation. So stop focusing on the service provider who is giving you a product that belongs to somebody else, who has to pay that person, and start talking to your water board, start talking to your hospital management, start talking to your governor, to your state, your FCT, or anywhere, or your federal government, to be responsible, to reduce the cost of governance, to start paying money where they should pay money. And that's the issue. So the issue of they cut off this, they cut off that. I'm looking at you. You're even talking, well, you're a woman. I understand that. I know how you feel. You want the hospital to have light. You want the water bottle to have light, which is good. But tell them they should pay for the light.
Although I'm not entirely sure.
Payment is important. Nigerians should begin to wake up. We should stop this sentiment and emotional blackmail of thinking that discos cannot cut off the car. Same thing happened with the Air Force base in Ikeja. When they started beating, and I came there and I was saying, this is what they are doing, because they are owing. Now they are paying. When we cut them off and we resolve. Now they are paying. Let them pay.
I'm not entirely sure what my gender has to do with advocating for hospitals.
It's not about gender. I'm an Obama.
It's the reference.
It's your reference. I'm responding to your reference. It's not emotional.
I'm an African. My own is this. So I'll talk to you as an African.
What does that
mean? I'm saying that as a woman.
Yes.
Woman cares. You want the best. We're different. Okay, it's not about gender equality or non-equality. I'm saying that I understand and I appreciate what you're trying to say. That's what I meant.
But you're not saying that she's been emotional.
No, she's not been emotional.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, you as a
Chief Sunday Oduntan, we want to thank you for joining us on the morning show today. Thanks for the candid views.